Wait, I can't find. Take a sip off of that. Yo. Too much stuff on the screen. Yo, what's up? No, no, notorious. What's up, JRD? What up, K Dub? A whole lot of superstars up in here tonight. Yo, what's going on? Oh yeah. Is it Thursday yet? Is it Thursday again? That's right. We in there. We in here. What's going on, you guys? Yo. I was watching old rap videos as I'm wont to do, and you know how like the New York's got that year, and Philly's more like yo. So it's the same thing, but it's more like a elongated yo. And I was trying to remember where that came from. Chill. Um, and I was watching an old like Cool C video, and at the beginning of it, my man gets out the car. He's like yo, and his voice was like yo, and that was like 90. That was like 89, and like in the hood, yo in Philly at least was the equivalent of taking a handful of pebbles and throwing them up at the window of your buddy to get his attention. You know, you get that call, you look out the window, it's like yo. He was like yo, come on, let's go steal his car. So what's going on? JRD says, I almost forgot it was Thursday. What? Elsa has been to ice pack since Tuesday. Yeah, man. Did you guys lose power? Yo, sip of coffee for everybody that's been dealing with these hurricanes and these storms, yo. Yo, what's up, El Jamal? My brother from another mother. Part of the three-headed monster, the King Ghidorah of comics, of people who everybody thinks looks exactly alike. Myself, El Jamal Walton, and Jamal Eigel. I think is the names that gets people messed up. And Jamal's probably sick. Both of the Jamals are probably sick of hearing me talk about this. And I don't talk about it that much anymore. I think we've been around long enough that people can figure it out. What up, Joe? Big Red in the building. 89, were you still in high school back in the day? I was just about to get out of high school. 89 was a dope year. I think 3 Feet High and Rising came out. I was going to wear my De La Soul shirt today, but I'm rocking the Stones. You know, people say either you're a Stones or a Beatles fan, and I think you guys know which kind of person I am. That's borderline. I'll give it to you. Welcome, everybody, to Coffee Break. I'm not going to do my intros yet, but it's weird. I got kind of like a 3/4 pour tonight. My Keurig, it decided to cheat me. I'm not exactly sure what happened with that, but I'm not running at full capacity. But I hope you can spot me 10 points, and we'll just say that I have a full cup. So, welcome back to the podcast, to the live. What do we call this? After being gone from a long hiatus because I was trying to wrap up the artwork on Leon the Extraordinary, my first Scholastic Graphics book. That book is in the can for now. I'm still in the middle of edits and post and all that other kind of stuff, but the heavy lifting for me at least is done for the time being. So I decided to start strapping back on some of my prior commitments. So here I am. If you're new to the video, every Thursday at 9 p.m., I show up and make your Thursday a little bit more interesting. Remember back in the day, there was this little thing on television before streaming video, before Netflix, before all that stuff. probably when HBO was just a little box on top of your TV with an on and off switch. There was something called Must See TV, Must See Thursdays. And people would be like at the mall shopping, but at 8 o'clock, you know what happened on Thursdays, 8 o'clock in the 80s? Cosby Show came on. Then Different World came on. And then what, Cheers, and I forget the rest of it. But that was like you were in front of your TV. I want to bring a little bit of that back. This is Must See TV for your laptop. Well, hello. Well, hello. NBC with Seinfeld. Yeah. I want to think, though, that whole Thursday block started with the Cosby Show and it kind of kept going. Or it could have been all in the same space. I'm sure somebody's got a stack of TV guides from then still laying around. Paul Pate. What up, Paul Pate? What's good, brother? Paul Pate says, yes, that's what I've been calling this last year. I see what you did there. Must See TV. Yes, you did, sir. So you know what? I'm chilling out with my caffeines. I think we're going to have a nice quiet night. A lot of the excitement from last week is worn off. The numbers are a bit lower, but it's all good. This is what it's all about. You know, I think you got to get used to me being back, right? Because I've really hyped up the last week because I was coming back, but now I'm just going to slide it right in there. You know what day it is. You know what time it is. So I bet you maybe after like 15 minutes, the numbers are going to jump again because they're going to be like, oh, right, you're back. JRD says, this is better than all 4 of those shows. And Joe says, definitely start with Cosby. Yeah, that was a thing. I definitely recall people like starting to look at their watches around 7 o'clock, like, you got to hurry up. We got to get home. And that's also, it's funny. Every one of these shows is like we talk about being old or talking about the 80s or when we were younger. But hey, you know, this is our time. So this is kind of the era with Kitty Wong. I'm not even going to put that on the screen. You got to read that in the chat. Paul Pate says, wasn't Cheers on that night too? Yeah. I mean, the must-see TV lineup was just rolled on through the years, and it changed, but they put the hot show on Thursday nights. So like Cheers was on there. Wasn't Night Court on there? I mean, there were other shows they happened the rest of the week, but Thursday was the hot spot. And maybe the last big must-see TV show was maybe Friends. I can't remember. I'm not in the Friends demographic, but it is really interesting to see kids are in the Friends like they just discovered this show. I see young kids wearing Friends like sweatshirts and drinking out of mugs. All right, JRD's giving me a secret message. All right, if I see it, man, I got you. Joe says we are getting up there. Next, we'll be discussing Saturday morning night cartoons. You know what? It's funny. I kind of stay out of that because I feel like that's been beaten to death. I don't know. It's weird. Plus, my man Sean Galloway, you know, Cheeks exclamation point. He's been heavy talking about Saturday morning cartoons and collecting DVD box sets of all that stuff. And he was throwing names out that I forgot about, like the Gummy Bears was a hot show. I'm not taking your bait, JRD. El Jamal says it's about time for them to revisit those shows. Night Court is coming back. Is it? I saw that Punky Brewster came back, and I wasn't, whatever. That's some things you just got to let go. And there's some universes I don't really need to revisit. I don't need to see what Punky's up to now as a newly divorced mom. No, you mean not teen? It wasn't Teen Machine, was it? That was Hawthorne's book at Marvel. You're thinking about Turbo Teen, the kid that turned into the car, and my favorite indie comic book, Teen Boat. Teen Boat is so good. So wait, hold on. Paul Pate just posted the wiki. Hold on, the wiki to Must See TV. I can't really go to it easily, but Paul Pate, give us a scoop. Yo, what up, Caitlin? How you doing? I haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. Yeah, Hawthorne's got to creep into our conversation. Yeah, Hawthorne's book was Machine Teen. That was, I think, Mike's first title at Marvel. And that was like Hawthorne's first go around at Marvel where people were like, who? And I was like, yo, my man got on. And people were like, wait, what? And then it was over. And I was so upset. I was so mad at Marvel back then, but he's back. You know who he is now. Are you kidding? Night Court is back and but Harry died on the show, right? Harry died like back then, right? Didn't they try to replace him at the end, or the show was over after that? I started watching one of my boys. I watch a lot of shows. He gives me access to his Plex. Any Plexers out here? Raise your hand. And there's so much, and that maybe that's what we could talk about tonight. There's so much stuff. Like imagine this, like Plex. If you don't know what Plex is a free kind of like iTunes or like a streaming box, like an XMBC. Like that's helpful. Where you can upload all of your digital files of whatever and then set it up so it kind of is on a server and it looks like Netflix. And you can just scroll through whatever you want to watch. So say if you have every season of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first series, it'll make a little thumbnail and it'll be all in one place. And you can click on it and just rock out. And one of my buddies has a lot of the Saturday morning cartoons and just like really old, weird stuff. And it's really hard for me to find something to watch because even if I find something to watch, I'm not watching 9 seasons of it. I might go, oh, yeah, I remember that. And I watch like 5 minutes of it and I turn it off. So, I mean, it's got to be really hard to focus when you have everything at your fingertips. And a lot of people were really kind of concerned at the beginning of like the Napster era. Or when all of a sudden you can have everything, like remember when the iPods first came out with the dial, and it's like, and it started to get to a point where memory space or hard drive space wasn't an issue anymore, and the big thing is you could put your whole music library on this thing. And then I also remember that people started ripping all of their CDs and getting rid of their CDs. Yo, you like CDs? Yo, Carlos, you like CDs, bruh? And then they got real salty when like they found out they couldn't like get the songs off of it or the thing broke and now all the shit's going. So there's something to be said about that. But anyway, so I made a game for myself. I started watching the very first episode of things just to see how they've changed. So I started watching the first season of Night Court. And it's like maybe 2 or 3 episodes in before Harry even shows up. And they're not good. Like some of the stuff, I don't see how it made it. I started watching the first season of Bosom Buddies, like real early Tom Hanks. Is really interesting. Fletch says, kids today watching Friends on reruns is like me watching Gilligan's Island or I Dream of Jeannie every day after school. That's interesting because the stuff was not from your era. So that makes a lot of sense. I can see that. Yeah, I guess that's really what we got to think about now is that there were things that existed before us that we watched, but we had nothing to do with it, like the Honeymooners, right, or the Flintstones. Like all that stuff is really older than us. So Joe's running down the must-see TV lineup: Cosby, Different World, Cheers, Frasier, Night Court, Seinfeld, Friends. I think Seinfeld, obviously, Seinfeld was after the Cosby era. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, Seinfeld may have popped up after all the Cosby stuff was done, right? Because they needed to fill that blank. And wasn't Wings in there too? D. Brad, what's up, brother? Did you ever get those glasses? JRD says, I have low-grade Plex. Well, they have a cream for that. It comes with a tiny comb. Testing it out at the moment. When we have an actual house, I'll get the required Nas. It ain't hard to tell. Kenny Wong says, I missed my iPod Classic. Yeah, there was something really cool about that. I never had one. But I remember my buddy Cassie. I bought her MP3 player. It might have been like a Roxio. Remember when they started, these third-party people, or just not Apple, started making products that could hold MP3s? And this sounds like, this technology's been around forever, but it hasn't really. And I think I bought like a Roxio 5 maybe it was a 5 gigabyte MP3 player from her with a pair of headphones, and it was like the size of an external hard drive, and probably heavier. And you're basically carrying a hard drive around in your pocket, and it's just like the tech really wasn't there to start to shrink the stuff. And then kind of like the last part of the iPod stuff, I think I had I remember the Nanos had the screens, right? But there was a little tiny one that was just a button. And I used to take that to the gym, and I think it had a gig of space on it. I like that thing. I forget the name of it. Yo, happy birthday, Kidlet. Wish I could be there next week, but I'm really excited for you. Happy birthday. You make good choices, and you listen to your parents. You're not too grown yet. Happy birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to Kidlet. Yeah, everybody's dreams come true on Coffee Break with JN. It's the perfect time for ID. Oh, and also, if you guys didn't forget, you gotta give me a coffee check. But let me do the IDs first. Where's my stuff? You're watching Coffee Break with JN. I'm JN, your host. This is Philadelphia's favorite son, Johnny Carson, Judge Dreadlocks, among many others. You might ask yourself, how did I get here and what is going on? Well, sir, and or ma'am, what happens here, I will tell you. You get to watch cartoonist Jordan Nicholas, that's me, drink this coffee, that's that, and run his mouth, that's here. When he's out of coffee, video over. Thank you for your support. Oh, that's so nice. Everybody's being nice, saying happy birthday. So Paul Pate says, we watched the first 5 episodes from Cheers a few months ago. It was actually very good. Cheers was always good. I mean, it was a thing of just chemistry and people being really good actors, and maybe it was the live audience. All the stuff just worked. But, I also remember that Cheers was kind of big brain stuff, right? It's kind of like, what's the access point for a 13-year-old to watch Cheers? You watch people who spend way too much time in a bar talking about stuff. And it might have been a little over our heads, but you thought it was cool anyway. And that's a lot of TV was like that back then. Like how much Barney Miller were you watching, or Lou Grant, you know what I'm saying? Let's see what else is going on here. Hey, Mama Carla, the show can start now. How are you? It's good to see you. Oh, D. Brad says the glasses website is vinylized.com. So if you weren't around for that, so my man D. Brad said, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, that you know somebody that knew a guy who makes glasses. Oh, I got to do my anime. Ding! Out of old vinyl records. So we went into this whole thing about what if you had to pick two albums to make your glasses out of, what are you going to pick? And I said I wanted a little Wu-Tang, maybe some EPMD on my glasses. Man, we're never going to get through this. I keep changing the subject. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's sweet. Anytime. Oh, happy birthday. So JRD started talking about Saturday morning TV shows. And here, you know what, before we even get into this, and I really don't want to get into this, I think people's memories are a little hazy because we talk about Saturday morning TV shows, TV cartoons, and things like that. But also, a lot of people forget to talk about, more importantly, the after school block, right? That's where people my age, the graybeards, cut their teeth. So it was like 4 o'clock. What was it? Like the 4 to 4:30 block, which was just G.I. Joe Transformers. It's a wrap. That was it. And maybe on a couple of different channels there were some other things. I remember there was in Philly, there was Channel 17, The Great Entertainer, and they had like those Johnny Come Lately cartoons on it. They didn't get the good stuff like real Ghostbusters. They had, remember the fake Ghostbusters? No, the real ghost, not the real Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters with the monkey and the guys in the jalopy. That's like, you just needed to watch something. So that was on. What else did they get? GoBots, you know? But then there was in Philly, there was channel 457, and then I think it turned to 48, where you would find the good, like the experimental stuff. I think I watched Street Frogs and stuff like that on there, and Heathcliff was on that. And I don't know. I think there's something in the air. I think Heathcliff is making a comeback. People are heavy into Heathcliff right now. And I told this story on my Patreon. This was a while ago in one of my videos. Back in the day, before there was the guide channel on your cable box, you got this thing every week called the TV Guide, and it was a little book with really dope artworks. Like Jack Davis used to do a lot of covers for the TV Guide with, you know, it's Mork and Mindy, Laverne and Shirley, TV's most highest rated sitcom. And you would go through this book and plan out your viewing for the week. Friday at 8 o'clock, this program is coming on and we're going to watch it. This is before VCRs, really, before any of that. If you saw something in the middle of the night and nobody knew it existed, it won't come back. And sometimes you think it was a fever dream, that world. If you didn't get the TV Guide, if you were savvy enough, in Philly, in the Sunday paper, they had the TV Weekly, which was the same thing as a TV Guide, but it was a TV Guide. So you would plot out what you were going to watch. So you would study this thing like a test, right? Because you can't leave television up to chance, especially if you'll never see it again. So I remember once I was reading it, and it was on Channel 57. It was I swear it was a Sunday morning. You know about Sunday morning cartoons, because you just got up and you're up and it's 6:30 and the cereal's not going to eat itself. And there was a little ad for this thing called Robotech. And I was like, I have no idea what that is. But I remember I got up and turned on the TV, and the little thing came out of the gantry, and the animation was real crisp, and there was like lens flares popping off of stuff, and my man's head raised out the thing. My man Rick Hunter came out the cockpit. I was like, yo! I had no idea what I was watching. but it was amazing. I saw Robotech on the first day it started, and same thing with Mighty Orbots. That was on Saturday morning. So, all right, I gotta get to what you guys are talking about. Yo, what up? You know my man Ben Harvey, super magnificent cartoonist. What's up, Ben? I think I missed the first thing you said. Oh, Channel 48 had the Kung Fu block on Saturday. It censored ultraviolet anime. Yes, that's so. Yo, Carlos says the early after school block is where I first saw Star Blazers. Yes. I had to run home to catch the last 15 minutes. There was no VCR. And if you did have a VCR, you didn't have a tape. Right? You had to ask moms if I could tape something. Well, what tape are you going to use? Can I or this is the worst thing when you would ask somebody to tape something for you. What a lesson in frustration, man. Yeah. That was how we kind of like we chanced our way through television. Yeah, there's a lot of people I missed. That's so cool. I'm just going through the things. Kitty Wong says, GoBots, Rainbow Brite, My Little Pony, Heathcliff, Voltron. Sip of coffee for vehicle Voltron, not the Lions. That's spicy content right there. That's right. I roll with Sven. Was it Sven? Oh, Sven was one of the lion dudes, right? Who was the head of the vehicles? Damn, Macrons. You've ruined my eyesight. Oh, Gatchaman was in my intro to anime in the mid to late 70s. Yeah, it's funny how everybody remembers it as a different thing. It was Battle of the Planets on this thing. It was Space Science Team Gatchaman on something else. It was G-Force on something else. But, that stuff was violent. Have you ever watched Speed Racer? Do you know how many people Speed Racer kills in an episode? There's one episode of Speed Racer I saw. I think I have Speed Racer on Blu-ray. That's like one of the only series I have the whole box set of. And he's in his car, pile up. He jumps out the Mach 5, grabs somebody's Tommy gun. He's just mowing people down on the side of the road. Damn, Speed. Don't hurt him, bruh. It's crazy. See, JRD, you know what's up. So good. JRD says, I was lucky. Star Blazers was run later after Voltron. Wait, those two things collided? Voltron was like, you know what? Star Blazers was old, and Voltron was newish. But I do remember, I miss He-Man, which wasn't as big a deal. You know what? I don't ride with He-Man. There's a lot of my buddies and a lot of people in this room love Masters of the Universe. There's just something about it I didn't click to. And maybe that, I don't know. You can't like everything. But yeah, I was going to do a memory about, this is even, maybe we talked about this once. The fact that going back in that space before everybody had VCRs, or if you had a VCR, some people, I remember the really, really early VCRs, not even the Betamax VHS debacle, but the really early VCRs couldn't record. There were players. And then later they had recorders. But I remember our very first VCR was a lot of money. It might have been like $700, $500. I can't remember. It was a lot. And it had the remote control was this little doohickey that had 3 buttons on it, and it was hardwired to the device, which was a top loader. And I don't think it had all the buttons. I think it had play, rewind, and forward. I think you had to get up to eject it or to stop it. There was a couple buttons that weren't on it. And I remember our first videotape was Thriller. Like they made like a kind of like a long form video tape with the video, and then like a behind the scenes with John Landis. We watched that thing so many times, but there was a period before, like you had the Video Unlimited catalog and some of those other places where you could order movies. I remember when I was in high school, there's some rich kids I went to school with who all they did was like study that catalog like it was their textbook. And I remember, let me get to this memory, and I remember that Transformers the movie came out in the video catalog. So this had to have been like after 86. It might have been like late 86. And my buddy was trying to figure out how he's going to save up enough money to buy this VHS tape. But anyway, before all of that, I remember video stores were hard to come by. I remember the first video store we went to was downtown. We didn't live downtown. And it was such a new practice. Like, okay, well, what's in this place? Well, there's videotapes. Okay, tell me more. You sign up for membership and you can take the tape and watch it and bring it back. So when do I bring the tape back? It was that early. And that even kind of ties into video games later when you started renting Nintendo games. And that was later, and that totally messed up the whole market for kids having video games. Your video game collection got real specific when you could just rent it, or you would rent something so many times it just made sense to buy it. Oh man. Somebody give me a coffee check. Clean, what up, Clean? Clean says, I used to have a 13-inch TV/VCR combo. I used to record sci-fi shows when I was a kid, yes. Friday Night Sci-Fi was my jam when I was a young teen, yes. See? Joe says, yes, when you rented the VCR for the weekend with the movies, early 80s, that's right. You got a big like case with a strap, and you took the whole thing home. And you set that up and watched the movies and brought the whole thing back on Monday morning. Wow. You gotta type the whole thing, bro. You gotta type coffee check. Somebody give me a coffee check. If you were here last week, if you want to see my level and my mug, you got to type coffee check, and I'll do it on screen. There you go. Clean and Kidlet know how to follow directions. Check. All right. Let's see what's in here. Hold on a sec. I got to turn this off. Ooh. All right. Oh, wait. Hold on. That's where we're at. We're rocking out with 50. We got 50%. Smells good, though. Yo, Charity, I'm sorry, Joe. You going back in time, talk about record stoves. This is like old science now. I just heard that Tower Records was coming back, but they're coming back online. And Tower Records it still exists in Japan. There's like a big Tower Records somewhere in Tokyo. But yeah, I still have my Talib Kweli and Mos Def or Black Star cassette tape from the wall. And there's a sticker on the tape that says lifetime guarantee. The wall doesn't exist. I can't get my money back now. Nobody beats the Wiz, bruh. Hey, Mama Carla. Mama Carla says, what are we drinking tonight? I am rocking out with 8 o'clock coffee. This is my favorite old man coffee. It's delicious. It's robust. It's heady. It's good stuff. Clean. Did you steal my Black Star tape? That's a good tape. That's almost underrated. Oh, you did the Kilroy was here when I was with the coffee. That's funny. Jardisa, Sam Goody was the sister company of Suncoast, where I worked. Crazy memories. I remember Suncoast was like the video store equivalent of Spencer's, but they just had a bunch of weird stuff in there. I had an early. That's not that early. One of my favorite retail jobs was I worked at Warner Brothers Studio Stores. And I worked there right when they opened up. This is at the beginning, or maybe the quick end, didn't last long, of the animation cell bubble. Remember that? When everybody was trying to get you to buy animation cells? And I got hired to work there as part of the galleries team. And if you remember when Warner Brothers was around, they wanted it to be kind of like an event. And their competition was clearly the Disney store. And we would roll through. We were like renegades. We would roll through the mall after being at Fridays way too long and glare at the kids who worked in the Disney store. And our outfit, this was our loadout, our dress code was all black. We had to wear black five pocket Levi jeans, black shoes, and your black Warner Brothers polo. He got triggered. Yeah, look at that. Carla, my husband loves 8 o'clock coffee. It's my favorite old man. It's great old man coffee. And so some of you like Kidlet may have never been in a Warner Brothers store. I'm not sure. But you'd go there and they had there was like a jewelry case in the front. I remember there was quadrants in this retail. It's a big retail space. And probably if you went to the mall that I worked at, then it's probably like where the Hollister is or the American Eagle, like one of those giant stores that you get lost in if you're under 25. So you would come in and there was all like apparel. It was broken into like men's and women's. And then there was like in the back high-end sport apparel, like apparently a lot of people with money like Warner Brothers stuff. And they were really cashing in on nostalgia. Like you happen to be a Fortune 500 CEO and you love Taz. I'm going to have this applique on my $430 golf shirt. We sold a lot of golf shirts. And then there was like the like home goods. There were like mugs and teapots and stuff like that. And then there was a jewelry case. This stuff was not cheap. This was not dollar store stuff. And I remember we had regulars, like there were kind of like snooty folks who would come in, and there was kind of like a network. Like people, the managers at other stores knew the other people's customers and would send people over. Hey, listen, I have the Smiths who buy a lot of Ceracels from us. They're coming over to your gallery. Can you hold that Mel Blanc piece for us? Yeah, no problem. I'll have it wrapped. I got a bubble wrap right for them. And it was, I don't know why it didn't last. It's probably eating its own tail. It was interesting. I was going somewhere with that, but it says old man coffee. Elaborate. What makes it old? I think old man coffee is like 8 o'clock coffee, Folgers, Maxwell House. It's like no BS, straight, hardcore, like punch you in the teeth coffee. It's not, it's not doing a two-step. It's just strong coffee. Yeah, see, I miss a Warner Brothers store. The only thing I have left from Warner Brothers is we had like friends and family night, and we would get a pretty decent discount. I had a lot of really interesting things. Like I remember saving. What Batman was popular then? I was there for at least 2 or 3 Batman movies. I think we were there. I was there for Batman and Robin. Was that, which one was the George Clooney one? I kind of remember because they played "Kiss by a Rose" by Seal every 5 minutes on the video wall, and it's like burned into my brain. You know, looking at the Gucci, it's about that time. Looking at my calendar, it's still July. What up, Julian? Sam says you were there for 4 hours. What do you mean? Oh wait, yeah, I'm missing stuff. What up, E? My favorite editor. What up, E? Were you at WB long enough for the Alex Ross decorative plates to get there? No, I think I quit by then. I remember, yeah, like that was a big ticket thing, right? No, I probably would have picked those up because I was real heavy in the comics, like collecting back then. But I was real broke, and I remember I would go to the mall. I would go to the comic book store in the mall, and I had enough interest or money. I bought a copy of Savage Dragon every month, and that was kind of it. But I do remember that. I think I had all the Marvels stuff. Um, but yeah, I do remember that. That was like towards the end. Oh yeah, that's not a good joke. You must get that from your dad. Jardee says employee discount at Suncoast was dangerous. That's why I have literally thousands of dividends and CDs. I feel you. Warner Brothers Online is closed and reopened twice. Wow. Oh no, I was gonna say the only thing I have left from that. Oh, I had a giant Batman logo that I took from the display because it's like they had to refresh stuff and move stuff out. But I can't remember which one. I think that was Batman Forever. I can't remember, but that's lost to the winds now. Um, but yeah, I mean, that was a really fun time, and it was a really good group of people, and I still have a friend that is near and dear to me that I took from that place. But yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do another ID. I have to apologize. My energy is super low. I've been going to bed really late. You're watching Coffee Break with JN. Hello, I'm JN. Your internet best friend, the grand poobah of indie comics, and I've been watching too much Joshi wrestling. Captain Scholastic. That's right. What happens here? Well, you get to watch me, Jamar Nicholas, run my mouth and drink coffee out of my Astro Boy mug. And when I'm out of coffee, you know what happens next. Let's give a good looking out to my GLOs. You know who those GLOs are. My good looking outs to my $2 tier on Patreon. I thank you guys for your support every month. Like I said in the last one, I do have a Patreon. You can go find it if you want. I'm not super advertising it because you know what? This is a special place where we get to kick it, and I don't need 1,000 people up in there. But I do have a lot of things that I don't post in public. I have a tier where I send you cool stuff in the mail that I create. I have a tier where you get to see behind the scenes stuff in my studio. I have one where you just get to watch videos that you don't see anywhere else. Just like one of our most famous things, It Ain't Hard to Tell, my podcast with Mike Hawthorne. That's right, the same Mike Hawthorne I talked about earlier in the show. Deadpool, Mike Hawthorne, Superior Spider-Man, Mike Hawthorne, Daredevil, Mike Hawthorne. Yes, that's right. Him and I are really close, and we get to answer questions from our patronuses, and you get to hear the responses. It's really cool. But thank you guys for your support. And while I'm here, I might as well give you the link. Go check it out. If you don't like it, don't hang around. But I think you'll enjoy it if you check it out. And also, I got to give a shout out to what up, Cafes? Shout out to the Cafes, the friends of regulars, not decaf, of Coffee Break with JN. I love you guys so much, and I've missed you so. A lot of you guys reached out to me while I was on when I was on my deadline and not posting videos. That checking in on me means the world to me. Thank you so much. I know there's a lot of out of sight, out of mind that happens on the internet for those internet personalities and people of that ilk. But I think we have a special thing, you and I. You understand me, and I get you. So I salute you, and thank you so much. JRD says, don't know him. I know best hair in comics by Hawthorne. Hey, I'm not, I mean, I do okay. You guys are running down Batman with nipples. I forget about that. Ugh. That's hilarious. So, but yeah, I'll talk about this video store stuff a little bit more. One of the YouTube channels I watch, I've been watching a while. There's another video game guy who talks about his childhood and how video games hold this really special place in his memory. And one video, remember when Toys R Us went out of business and people were like, oh, Toys R Us, so what? I go to Target. But for a lot of people our age, especially guys maybe, the toy store, maybe for just everybody, I don't know, but I think boys don't get much. So we kind of locked on to like G.I. Joes and stuff. Oh, look at you. All right. Just for you, kid, because it's your birthday. Let me give you this coffee check. You ready? You ready? You ready? Oh, man. I don't think you're ready for this. Where were we? Here? We're running out of fuel. All right, go to bed. We'll see you around. So he talks about, so we just talked about Toys R Us. When Toys R Us closing, I heard a lot of people, and people were just like kind of like reminiscing and being sad about Toys R Us. Now, mind you, probably half the reason went out of business because y'all wasn't going to it anyway. But I digress. He talked about the act of going to the toy store, and this is something a lot of us grew up with. You didn't get to go to the toy store a lot. 9 times out of 10, if you went to the toy store, you got dragged because you had to get a gift for somebody else's birthday. I'm going to the toy store. Do you want to come? Yeah. When we get in there, don't ask for nothing because you ain't getting nothing because we're in here because Junior needs a birthday present. You can help me pick it out. So if you were good, you may get something out of the Toys R Us or the Kitty City or the KB or wherever. So I don't feel like Target doesn't count. That's not real. Like you have to go to the toy store. You could get one thing, or if you were, from my era, you could get like a man, as they would call it. You could get one man. All right, I would get one man, and whatever you're into. It might have been a Star Wars dude. It might have been a G.I. Joe. It was probably one of those guys because they were cheap. And if I remember back then, like a G.I. Joe was like $2.50. It was like $2.50, which kind of, you think of it now with your disposable income as an adult, you're like, yo, I get all the G.I. Joes. And that's why a lot of people have basements full of stuff. But the stuff doesn't cost the same now. But that didn't happen all the time. You would go, or you would get something on your birthday for the whatever holiday you celebrate at the end of the year. Maybe a good report card, and that's it, right? So stuff had to last. And when it comes to video games, we didn't have the internet, so you could do deep dive searches and let's plays and all this stuff. You just had to guess that a game was good because you didn't know. And you get one game and let's go and hurry up. So you would go to the video game section and they would have like aisles of video game stuff. They would have the systems in this acrylic case, but everything was bolted down and you could just kind of look at it. Like when the Nintendo came out with the robot and the gun and all that, you're just like, and you couldn't touch it. But then the games, they had those flaps, almost like a poster carousel. They had these big flaps that had the front of the game. They would take the game boxes and flatten them. And the front of the game was on one side and the back of the game was on the back with a tab that you would pull out with how much it cost. And don't front, back in the day, that stuff was expensive. Like video games were still 80, 60, 70, 80 bucks back then. Final Fantasy 2 was $80 on Super Nintendo back then. And the only way you knew if the game was good or not is if somebody in the schoolyard told you, or the box art or the graphics in the little square on the back of the box. So imagine you're like trying to choose between Metroid or Kid Icarus. I don't know. They keep saying one of them's good. I don't remember. And your mom's yelling at you to hurry up from the front of the aisle, and you just pick something, and you can't take it back. That's your game. That whole thing of choice, and then when the video games started, you could start renting them at the Blockbuster or your like mom and pop family rental, made it really hard for you to actually own anything because you could just go rent it, right? Like, and one of the things I really, really miss, guys, if I stop this video right now, I miss the community of the local video store. There was a place right outside of Philly called Viva Video, was probably the last standing video store in Ardmore, I think, or somewhere on City Line Avenue. And I just got a thing from them on Instagram that they're closing, and I felt really bad. I've never been there, but I thought it was cool. They were still keeping that alive. And there's something special about Friday night. You get your shorty and you go get some takeout and a couple of movies, right? All right, let me read some of these things. I feel like you guys are putting it together. Carlos Carlos says, my dad would be so mad because I would beat those Bobo games in a couple of days. Thank God for weekend rentals. If it wasn't for rentals, I would never get to play anything. Yes. Joe says the video store was our version of a local bar like Cheers. Yeah, you would run into your neighbors at the video store. The egghead film dropout student that worked there would always hook you up with the good rentals. If you were real good with the kids that worked at the video store, they'd save the posters and the standees for you. You would call ahead. There was always that dude that would call and bother you to ask you when's the movie coming back. Yo, did Fletch Lives come back in? No, not yet. All right, I'm gonna call back in 10 minutes. Stop calling here. Kenny Wong says, I agree. The neighborhood video store was the best community hangout spot for all the kids. I mean, and I had my second job is I worked at a West Coast video in the back end of Philly, like out near St. Joe's. And it was one of the best jobs I ever had. I mean, not because it was amazing. Like I almost got into fist fights. I got into a race war outside with the neighborhood Z Cavarici wearing punks. But you find out a lot about people by the videos that you rent. Yeah, it was a really good thing, but there's a lot of weirdos too. A lot of weirdos. Real quick. Yeah, what up, Will? Where'd you go? I was about to shut you up. You know my boy, Will Rosado. What's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're well. You know Will Rosado, my favorite G.I. Joe artist. That's right. Will's drawn G.I. Joe, Iron Man, another one of my famous comic book friends. What up, brother? And also a G.I. Joe enthusiast, might I say. When Will starts talking Joes, you better listen. You better respect the general. Will says, G.I. Joe figures at Forbidden Planet were $3 to $4. I would stop by and after school all the time and make plans to buy figures. You sure you weren't putting a couple in your pocket, bro? I know it. I'd go to the Woolworths. Wow, I'm showing my age. You would always see the blister packs busted open and like gung-ho was never in there. Or I remember kids would like steal the guns out of the G.I. Joe. So you had to be real careful when you bought stuff to make sure the whole thing was there. Oh, I gotta ring the bell for you, man. Ring the bell for Will. I love it. Amani, what up, brother? Dude, I love that logo. When are you gonna? I need to cop that shirt. Come on. Amani says, my brother and I were Ninja Gaiden and Mega Man on Friday and beat it by the end of the weekend. Would you rent it again? Like, if you were doing repeat rentals of the same thing, you might as well just buy it. But yeah, that was it. Ma, can we get a game? Ma, can I get a game? Ma, can I get a game? Yeah, yes. Jeez, just get out of my face. And you had to go to the rental store like early Friday. Like, don't show up at like 8:30 trying to find something dope and the video rack is all picked over. And that kind of changed when, like, there weren't really like I had like a lot of mom and pop video stores in my area, and the Blockbusters came later. And I hated the Blockbuster because the line was always crazy and that nobody knew what they were talking about, and stuff was always I never really ran with Blockbuster, but I like the mom and pops. Oh, GRD, you got a fan, Will. Hey, I remember ordering Will's work when I was a retailer. Great. That's my Johnny Carson. Great stuff. Great. Thanks, bro. Oh, wow, GRD. You still have it? I'll take it. My first setup was a Commodore 64, which got stolen. Well, sorry. I eventually saved up for a Sega Portable in the early 90s for Tetris and Star Trek. So I was never really a gamer. I still default to chess/solitaire. I feel you. All right, Mama. I'll see you soon. Be good. Good night. We'll have to wait another episode. We'll talk about trading games. That was a whole. I'm going to talk about kid economics, and in my next book, you're going to see a lot of the kid economics at work. Trading. I got to talk about this real quick. In kid world, trading video games did not mean you traded it forever. Trading, especially where I came from, is this is all schoolyard economics, right? Yo, I heard Jamal got Tecmo Bowl. Yeah, so yo, I want to trade you. All right, what you got? I got Karate Kid. I got Zelda. And, I got Derby Stallion and Barbie. Man, I don't want none of that. No, hold on. I got Contra. All right, I'll let you. Let me get Contra, and I'll let you borrow Tecmo Bowl. So then you would make these arrangements, and the arrangement would be like usually like the next day or Friday. You would make the trade, and it was almost like an open air drug deal where you would give this kid your tape, Nintendo tapes. Sip of coffee for Nintendo tapes. Right? Hold on. So you would trade your games, and then there would be some sort of reconciling where maybe the trade time was the weekend. Yo, Monday, you better bring my shit back because kids curse, right? I don't know if you knew that. Kids curse like sailors at school. You better bring my shit back. All right, I got you. You better bring mine though. And you take this very kind of like hesitant like step away from each other, and everything's cool unless you mess up the trade. Your trade value or your like street cred at school dips dramatically if there was a bad trade, right? So let's say Carlos doesn't show up to school on Monday and you still got my game. Yo, where my Contra? That's a problem. Don't be, oh, well, I was sick. I broke my arm and I was sick. Yo, you better have my shit next time. All right, that only could last so long before the kids came after you. You make a clean break, you bring the stuff back, it's not broken, there's not teeth marks in it, then you can trade again, and then your value increases around school where other people may want to trade for you and unlock something. Yo, what you got? Oh, he got Zelda. No, you can't have Zelda. And you didn't want to be on the losing end of that. But also be wary, because if people know you're trading games, your locker might get busted into. So, Right? Because kids were always trying to snooker you and like, yo, I got concentration for what was a hot button game like RC Pro Am. That's not a good trade. But the trading meant you gave it back next week. It wasn't like you trade it for forever. You might trade games with like a really good friend or your neighbor, but not like open air schoolyard trades. Oh, you guys are talking about copy. Guys, that'll be next time. I'll be next time. That's so funny. Yeah, man. I love it. Oh, and Joe said 8:30 is when you found the odd stuff. Yeah, it's almost like being at the bar at the end of the night. You're just in the video store. Remember the dude that would be banging on the door at like 9:50? Like, yo, let me in, let me in. He's trying to return his tape or pick something up. Yo, what you got? You got anything? You can't go home empty-handed. You gotta get that tape. And I wonder how many people wound up like owing the video store a lot of money. Don't have the video store call you because you didn't bring your tapes back. All of those things, the rewinding, you know, you would some places you got a penalty if you didn't rewind the tape. When I worked at the video store, we had the back shelf of the area where we kept all the stuff in the cash register registers were just a bunch of rewinders, and you put them in there and they go right. And if you were smart, if you were a big VCR person, you never rewound your tapes in the VCR because you'd kill the VCR. You got to rewind it for that. This sounds like ancient history. Carla says you get your drawer back, and all of a sudden you had to blow it to get it to work because people are dirty, man. And you know, and also trades were something you didn't tell your parents you were doing that because there was always a chance that it would go wrong or you would get, you know, it would go bad, and you didn't want to entertain that because it's like, you know, your parents didn't pay enough attention to know what you were doing. You could sit there all day doing this, and they just hear bleep bloop blorp. They don't know that you're playing strip poker on the C64 with the door closed. It's just bleep bleep bleep. And they would go, yo, what game is that? I traded it with Kenny. Well, where the game I bought you? And then it turned into a problem. So you kept that stuff on the low. Hey, Myra, I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on? Good to see you. We're going to wrap this up. I've been running my mouth. Yes, late fees more than cost of the tape. That's how they get you. Well, this has been fun, you guys. I'm going to start wrapping it up. Oh no, baseball card flip trades. I was never into baseball cards. The only cards I was into were like the Marvel superhero cards, like the art cards. It was one of the best things was watching my buddy Mike Manley sit at a comic book convention, and somebody showed up with like a baseball card case full of those trading cards. And Mike just sat there and it's signed like 1,000 of those cards. I might have to make Leon cards just so I have something to sign. Clean wants me to shut up and wants a coffee check. All right, babe. Let me check it. Hold on. Colleen didn't want to hear me talk about video game trading. Let's see. I'm going to keep it here because the next sip is going to be 0, but we're not there yet. Kitty's trying to sweeten the deal. Yo, I got that tunnel rat and a cobra viper. Real quick for all my Joe heads out there, what was your favorite G.I. Joe figure from the original like set, the 314s or whatever, however big they were? I remember my first G.I. Joe was Torpedo because he came with flippers and a spear gun. Oh, that's so good. I love Jamie. That's awesome. Jamal says, I think the only Nintendo game my parents ever bought me was Duck Hunt, Super Mario Brothers. Everything else is from something I found while other people got caught slipping. You know how serious this game thing is, bro. That's all we had. That's so great. Yeah, I never got into collecting sports cards. That's so funny. Katie says, I'll trade you this Cobra Commando, Destro, Duke, and Lady J for your snake eyes, man. You got to come up with maybe a vehicle, like a $5 vehicle for Snake Eyes. He was hard to come by. With the wolf, ooh, wow. Pat was late to the game, but Chuckles, that's a good pick. Undercover Agent Chuckles. So good. Yo, Joe's going back. He had the G.I. Joe with the afro. All right, we're gonna be here another 30 minutes if I don't stop this. Oh, Clean got into Pokemon cards. Yeah. That wasn't my deal, but I know like people were, when I was teaching kids and the kids would come up with their 3-ring binder full of Pokemon cards, it was serious. And there's always somebody crying at the end of the day because somebody got punched in the face for the Pokemon cards. Don't bring that stuff to school, bro. Your dreams come true a coffee break with JN. You know it to be true. You know it to be true. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I don't know where the Ringos are, but Suze would say, you know what to do now, y'all. Say your goodbyes. E, you still have those? I'd love to see those. Oh, wow. The Welcome Back Cotter doll. I did have a Starsky and Hutch, the 12-inch dolls, and I had the Gran Torino with the cherry on top. Oh, so good. All right, you guys, let's get your good nights in. This was fun. A little reminiscence, always good for the blood, good for the soul, for the spirit. We always want to leave you with a good affirmation. Remember I talked about icebergs? My icebergs out there. What did I say before? Persistence overcomes resistance. Right? Whatever you set your mind to, you can do it. You just got to do it. Right? Your dreams aren't going to wait for you sometimes. So sometimes you got to put forth more effort, maximum effort. So good night. This next week is going to be cracking my knuckles and beginning the script book number 2 in my Scholastic deal. So I'm very excited. Make things happen, you guys. Good night. And I'm going to do one last coffee check. We're going to get out of here. Thank you for the high numbers too. We rolled with a big number of people tonight. You've been watching Coffee Break with JN, and I'm JN, Philadelphia's favorite son, your internet best friend and hairbrusher. I listen to your problems when nobody else will because I care. That's right, I care. I hear you. What do they say now? Heard. I hear what's going on with you. I hear the wavering in your voice. You're troubled. Come, I'll listen to your garbage. Everybody's got something wrong with them, but I'll listen to what you have to say. What happened here? Well, you get to watch me run my mouth and drink coffee. And let's hold on. Let me do my last join. And now that we're out of coffee, I got too many things on the screen. This video is over. See you next week, guys.